And taking a look at the current NFL MVP race where things are starting to heat up. These are the current odds to win it all. Pat Mahomes with the shortest odds at plus 115. Then you got Jalen Hurts at plus 160. Joe Burrow at plus 700. And then Josh Allen and Tua at 12 to 1. Let's welcome in Emory Hunt to discuss the MVP race that is getting very tight. Emory, Patrick Mahomes has got the best odds at the moment. We just showed that graphic there. He won it back in 2018. At this point, do you think Mahomes deserves to win it again?
I don't want to say deserves because it sounds like it's a negative connotation, but I don't think he should win it. I don't think he's playing MVP level ball. He's playing really good ball, but we've seen this level of consistency from Patrick Mahomes all throughout his career. He's won the MVP before. Yes, you can make a case for him to win the MVP based off the type of play he's had, but I don't think he's had those wild man, check out Pat Mahomes type MVP type plays that we've seen from him throughout the parts of his career. So I just feel like he's playing really good, but not MVP level ball.
And he would be the first player to win 2 MVPs and a Super Bowl MVP in his 20s. He is 27. Moving on to a guy not far behind him in the with the odds there, Jalen Hurts putting on an MVP performance, and the Eagles win over the Titans, became the first player in franchise history to throw for 350 yards, throw for 3 touchdowns, and rush for a touchdown in a game. Emory, if the Eagles continue to win out, they're 11-1 right now, does that solidify Hurts as the MVP for you?
Peep this, Jacqueline. Some people don't see it until they saw it already. And for Hurts, we've seen this already. Go back to when Joe Burrow put on a magnificent performance, his Heisman Trophy year, right? Jalen Hurts was number 2 in the Heisman Trophy voting, had over 3,500 yards passing, 30-plus touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He had 1,500 yards rushing and 20 rushing touchdowns. Guess what he's doing now? He's on pace to have 30 touchdown passes if he can average 2 TD passes the rest of the way. They have 5 games left, and all he needs is 1 more rushing touchdown to put him over 9. He'll be at 10. So he's putting up ridiculous numbers in an offense that's box office, and they have, to me, the easier slate down the stretch. So I feel like this is your MVP right here because he's doing something that we hadn't really seen done, I want to say, since Lamar Jackson did it a couple of years ago, and even go further back to when Cam Newton did it in terms of the combination of both passing and rushing and also winning. That's also important. That's why I like Hurts as the favorite.
All right, let's talk more about Joe Burrow. Bengals started out 0-2, then they've won 4 straight, now sitting at 8-4. Joe Burrow back to doing Joe Burrow-like things. Emory, he is 3-0 against Pat Mahomes in his career at plus 700. Do you think that he should be in the MVP conversation at this point?
Absolutely not. The reason why he's here is because we have a tendency to overrate what we just saw last. We just saw him beat Patrick Mahomes in a thrilling fashion. Oh my God, Joe Burrow, yo, what? He hasn't played MVP ball all season long. And I also feel like he doesn't have the benefit of that 5th game. He only has 4 games left on the schedule, and they have some tough games. They have Cleveland, they have Baltimore in there. They also have New England. Tampa Bay's defense is a problem in terms of how they apply pressure. We know about that offensive line. So for me, he has a tougher slate and only has a 4-game window to really pile up ridiculous numbers to supersede Hurts and even Patrick Mahomes.
All right, Josh Allen, he entered the season as the MVP favorite, now at 12-1. Emory, what do those preseason bettors want to see from Josh Allen down the stretch for the rest of the regular season so they can maybe cash in on some of those early bets?
They want to see these highlight plays that they saw from him earlier in the year when he's jumping over guys, running through guys, throwing the football with that Tecmo Bowl-like arm strength from the end zone to the other end zone. But they haven't seen that. He's been playing highly inconsistent football over the course of the middle part to where we are now in the season. And that's going to be his issue. That's the reason why he's not going to be the MVP. He just hasn't had the consistency level of wild plays and sustained success. I mean, you got the Jets defense that we know is a problem. He also has to face Cincinnati's defense that's athletic and Miami's defense, and that's going to be a big game. And Chicago's defense, to be honest, is pesky. They can harass a quarterback. They can turn the ball over, and we've seen Josh Allen have way too many turnovers during this stretch of games that they're still finding ways to win. So he has played himself out of the MVP running, in my opinion.
Tua still in the conversation at plus 1,200. Pete Prisco said it here on HQ. This stretch for the Dolphins, very important for evaluating Tua moving forward. didn't have a great game against the 49ers. They lost that one. Now they got Chargers on Sunday night, the Bills, Packers, Patriots, and then the Jets to round out the season. Emory, do you think Tua can be the first Dolphin since Marino to win the MVP?
He can, because not only does he have these games against tougher opponents. You talked about the next game against the Chargers and then the Bills. And what I just said about Joe Burrow, we only remember what we saw last. The good thing about Tua in those two games I just mentioned, they're prime time. So if he has great games in a prime time performance, guess what? He's going to catapult to the front of this list. So he's probably having the best odds of an MVP guy. He has Green Bay, which we know is a name brand program. New England, they're going to talk about Bill Belichick and his defense all throughout that game. So if he throws well there, that's great for him. And he wraps up with the Jets in a game that's probably going to determine where they are in the playoffs. So that's going to be a game they're going to have to really win and go out there and play. So he has, to me, the best schedule in terms of making a case for an MVP. And I think we'll see him thrive in that primetime game against the Chargers, against America's quarterback, Justin Herbert, and thrive in that game against Buffalo. I think we're going to see him get back on that MVP track because he's been playing phenomenal. And you look at that game in a vacuum against San Francisco outside of the first play, I think that's just an anomaly as opposed to what we've seen from Tua when he's out there on the field for the full 60-minute game.
And Emory, finally, give us your pick for MVP if you had to make a decision right now.
Jalen Hurts not only gets my MVP, but he also gets the best dressed quarterback heading into a stadium. The suits of fire, but his game to me and what he has done based upon the perception of him coming into the season and of his game, it's the same trajectory Lamar Jackson was on. People doubted him consistently, thought he should have been a different position. Jalen Hurts, they thought he couldn't throw, all that nonsense they say about these quarterbacks like him. And all he's done this season is put up ridiculous numbers and have his team sitting right there at number one in the NFC. I think Hurts is going to be the winner when it's all said and done.
Emory, I think you might be our best dressed analyst. You got the X's and O's going on your tie there. You were showing us before the segment. Always looking great, my friend.
I'm minus 1,000 in terms of the favorite in that category.
All right, minus 1,000, Jeremy. You heard him there first here on HQ. All right, that is Emory Hunt breaking down the MVP race. Also, you can join Sportsline for just $1 using the promo code TROPHY. Head to sportsline.com/join. Again, that is just for $1.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.